On behalf of Amanda Muse and Cameron Cobb, these are Team B's closing arguments. Summary of the case. In 2011, a Red Cross employee, Gloria Hung, accidentally posted a rogue tweet involving alcohol, which she meant for her personal account. Red Cross representatives removed the post after it was up for about an hour and put up one afterwards acknowledging the mistake. The considerably potential disastrous situation was combated with humor and in the end even benefited the Red Cross by helping with fundraising. No administrative action was taken against the employee. Our stance. Although the situation was ultimately resolved, it did not go unnoticed or unseen by followers. Unfortunately, all it takes is the carelessness of one employee to negatively affect a company, and an example should have been made to show that the Red Cross does not tolerate this kind of behavior. The employee responsible for the inappropriate tweet should have been terminated, as her actions reflect poorly upon the company as a whole. This tweet went against the mission and values of the brand. As a company that stands on the mission and values of aiding people in times of need and heavily relying on support from donors and volunteers, it needs to be represented in a way that portrays this seriousness and maturity. This employee could have potentially shunned away some individuals who may be interested in helping the Red Cross, whether that be in the monetary or voluntary sense. The mistake was addressed, however, it still took an hour before that happened. With a very large amount of followers, and more importantly, people depending on the Red Cross to uphold certain standards, it put those values and the mission statement into question. Not to mention that even though addressed, think about the people who may have seen that tweet, gotten offended, and immediately stopped following the Red Cross on Twitter. They would have never had the chance to see that the Red Cross attempted to correct the matter. Therefore, in their eyes, the company's reputation is permanently tarnished. This now costs the company time and money to retrain employees on policies and guidelines that should have already been known. Upon initial employment with the Red Cross, members are required to sign a policy form stating that they understand the company's stance on drug and alcohol use. The policy even states that anything that violates this will result in disciplinary action. Therefore, it is shown in writing prior to working with the Red Cross that these standards need to be upheld. Now the company faces having to reiterate these rules, which costs unnecessary time and money and could have been disregarded by volunteers and employees altogether since nothing was even done to Gloria Hung. Gloria Hung's actions shed the Red Cross in a less than favorable light. It was an accident, and accidents happen. The Red Cross is based upon principles that try to handle accidents and disasters to the best of the company's abilities. However, mistakes that negatively misrepresent the company such as this example should not be simply disregarded. This gives current and future employees a chance to say, if she did not have to follow policy, then why should I? Any future mistakes made out of carelessness can now be argued with points reminding company management that it is unfair to not discipline one employee but yet do so to another. Though obviously not everyone involved with the Red Cross will think maliciously, this still leaves room for volunteers and employees to question how far the limits can be pushed as to what is excusable and what's not. Any past employee who may have been fired for a similar instance is now able to fight against that termination, and a sort of favoritism perception is now set out on the line. Reaction to our opponent's argument. Keeping compassion in mind. Team A made a good point about the employee facing embarrassment regarding the matter, and perhaps that was seen as punishment enough. The Red Cross shows not only compassion for the community, but obviously its employees as well. Compassion and forgiveness should always be practiced, but not to the point where the credibility of standards and guidelines are being totally dismissed. Implementing and regularly training employees, volunteers on social media policies. Another good point made was that communication between management and their team is crucial to keeping the Red Cross operating at its best. A policy should be made directly for Hootsuite. However, this still should have been known by the employee from the beginning, as a stipulation of being hired by the company requires new employees to sign a statement saying they understand set policies. Therefore, communication seemed to have already been established, and the situation should have been handled at the level of this one employee instead of the company's communication abilities as a whole now being scrutinized. Gloria Hung's tweet did not include anything despairing, discriminatory, racist, or sexist. Although this tweet may have not bothered some because it did not include what has been deemed universally inappropriate, what doesn't offend one person may severely offend another. This tweet received various types of feedback, whether opinions were voiced or not, and sometimes even humor and benefiting from the fundraising are not able to fix relationships between the company and all those that were made upset by this tweet. Conclusion. Although this mishap may have made the Red Cross look bad and terminating Gloria Hung could have possibly put a stop to any chance at similar instances, the Red Cross handled this in a very company beneficial and compassionate way. This shows that they do truly care about their employees, and hopefully that may prove to be enough to make others more careful when it comes to the brand's social media management. However, because an example was not made, the Red Cross still needs to ensure something like this does not become a habit among employees. A set-in-stone social media policy needs to be created and gone over with employees upon being hired, as well as reviewed with all employees on a semi-annual or annual basis. The policy should be abided by in every aspect. This includes sticking with the stated disciplinary action should any employee violate the guidelines. The primary reasons why social media policies and work rules are struck down are that they are vague, overbroad, and/or could potentially interfere with the employee's right to engage in protected activities. This being said, a good social media policy needs to very specifically state regulations and guidelines, while still making sure to recognize the right of privacy of the employee when it comes to his or her personal social media channels. Doing so keeps mistakes like this from happening, while still showing employees that they are valued and respected. Thank you for watching. Here are the sources used.